Hey, it's No Prize Podcast. This is the professor returning to you after a rough couple of weeks, and this is Lucas. How are you guys doing?
Love is love. We're still alive, and Comic Con is in the air.
New York Comic Con going on as we speak. Are you attending or not? Or
you, you talk about attending a room full of people in one of
uh,
the hot spots
I hear
for.
you. I hear you.
I love comic people. However, I don't love y'all enough to fucking put my life in danger. So I will be abstaining till that from comic conventions till at least the Baltimore Comic Con. Uh, so whew, God bless y'all, soldiers that are out there fighting a good fight, digging through those boxes and touching everything. But y'all ain't gonna, y'all will not
So
see me.
I got to tell you a little funny
Not.
story. A little funny story. It was like it's from a creator that shall not be named because I don't want to get him in trouble. But we were talking because he's at New York Comic Con right now, and he hasn't. This is his first con back since the pandemic, and he had made the decision that he did not want to go, but he had put in his request for a table, and then they sent him the bill and he just didn't pay
Oof.
it, figuring like the second round, the Delta variant, and all that stuff. I'm just not going to go, and they put him on the hook for the table regardless of whether or not he was going to show up. So he decided to bite the bullet, and he's there now because he didn't want to just throw money at the con. So
Tough,
it is tough, and you know
tough.
how expensive the tables are there. So
Well,
you know,
between the hotel rooms and
yeah,
just to be close enough to open up and then oh man, the food. Can you imagine the food vending? And you don't even want to be
yeah.
there.
Right. Yeah. So I just here's hoping everybody that goes breaks even, does well, and that they're all wearing masks and then we're not spreading.
Okay. And I
So
know for a fact that they are not because you know, during the drunken chat, people were telling me, "Yeah, man, there's not enough people wearing masks, man. It's kind of scary situation out there right now. Just kind of wild, wild west, So, yeah,
all right. So we are in the beginning of October here, where the shank of the year, where kind of Marvel's going to dump the rest of everything that they have on the slate for the year, and um, we got the finale of What If that came
yes,
out
sir.
over the weekend.
Yeah,
Tell me what you thought of it.
yeah. So, look, so let me rewind to the episode before that, right, which
Sure.
is actually kind of set up beautifully. Right? Um, in that one particular episode, right, it goes a relationship kind of develops between the Watcher, Watu, and Doc Strange, right, after everything that's happening.
Right.
Um, and what I do want people to pay attention to is, um, and I wish I had a better setup for this, is that in the shadows, right? I don't know if you caught, a lot of people apparently didn't catch this, as Doc Strange is walking out of the shadows, right? There's a shadowy figure, and you think it's somebody else until he actually walks in and is like, "Oh, Doc Strange." Well, here's the deal. As he walks out, that figure that he walks out is Chthon, right? I've been waiting for this guy, waiting and waiting. He's one of the elder, the Dark Gods, right? The
Mm-hmm.
guy that has made the Darkhold, which is going into a lot of things. First of all, there's a Marvel series that's coming out about the Darkhold, the
Yeah.
Darkhold Alpha, Darkhold Wasp, Darkhold Iron Man, Darkhold,
Yeah.
right?
Alpha just dropped last week.
Mhm. And then is a big part of what was going on with with WandaVision. That was the book that was controlling her and giving her part of her chaos powers and everything. That is Chthon's, and I'll go back and go into this. So it was very interesting to see that, other than the Darkhold book, this was the way that they decided to reintroduce Chthon in there. Not only that, it's just that a lot of people haven't caught it yet or understand what's going on, because in the episode that we're actually fully talking about, he fully unleashes those powers, right? He breaks out the eel tentacle hands and all that other
Oh yeah.
stuff, right? So people still think, hey, that's Doc Strange. Nope, that's not Doc Strange. That's probably Jathan maybe possessing Doc Strange, or it's just like him just gallivanting as as Doc Strange. So it's going to be interesting to see. Now, so was that the last episode? Because I could have sworn that was
The,
we were supposed to
well,
have the last
that
episode
was
a while
the
ago.
last episode of season one.
Okay.
So we are getting a season two. I liked this episode because if you watch the first half of the season, they were all standalone episodes like boom, bang, boom. And then they trick you at the end they bring back a lot of those characters from those first five episodes. And I thought that was brilliant. Where I was, with What If, you're used to just getting those standalone stories about the multiverse and then go on to the next one. And they trained you that way for the first five episodes. And then the last three, they were just like, okay, everything is connected, of course, because it's Marvel. And we're going to bring back all the main characters from each episode to fight this final battle. The only thing that was a little jarring was that they selected Gamora, and Gamora, I guess, was supposed to have an episode that they pushed back to season two. So
Mm,
that moment where they pull Gamora out and you see the big tank Iron Man, the Tony Stark, and that was actually from an episode that was produced that isn't we're not going to see until next year. So I thought that was interesting, but overall, I thought the writing, the course, the animation was just key,
of
was
course.
beautiful throughout, and I like the way that they utilized a lot of the different aspects. I love that they brought back Ultron, and it was Vision's body with an Ultron armor, and with the Infinity Stones, and it was. Using all the same tropes from the MCU movies, nothing really new, but using different aspects of how to do storytelling. That was what was great for me, and it kept me on the edge of my seat, and it kept me entertained, and that's all I really want. So, I look forward to season two.
Oh man, I can't wait. And now that you're telling me about the Gamora episode,
Yeah.
uh, that's going to be interesting because there is a specific there was specific event over the last like, I would say 2 years, in which it was Gamora and the Infinity Stones, and they built her as a totally new character. And this is after her father dies,
Mm.
as a result of, and then so I forget the name of the character, but that should be interesting to see if they do it that way or if they go in a totally different direction when it comes to the Infinity Stone. Man, this is can't wait to see this.
Good stuff. And then we get what we got. We have Hawkeye coming up, and then we got Black Widow that just dropped on Disney Plus
Hmm.
on Wednesday. So.
Yeah, so I know you can't wait to rewatch all that stuff.
Mm.
Um, the Now in the meantime, Venom Carnage came out a couple weeks ago, and I know you don't like Venom,
Tell me about it.
nor do you like
You can.
Carnage.
Uh, I didn't like the first movie, so
I did
um,
not like it either.
I didn't. I didn't think. I know that you were supposed to go out and see the movie so we could talk about it, but I didn't think it was worth the risk to kind of go out you know,
Right.
into the crowds and see Venom 2. My kids both saw it, and I could tell you one of my children liked it. My other child did not. So,
Mm,
take that as a grain of salt. But they did both say that you had to see the after credit scene. So,
yes. So well, yeah, we will not spoil this. However, I will say that two things. Number one, it does improve immensely on the first one, right? The
okay.
acting is better, the tie-ins is better. Um, just all around good stuff. It doesn't get stuck in the bodge of having to reveal origins and all that. Nope. The graphics are better. I can tell when one Venom is fighting versus Carnage, which was a huge problem in the first one because it was all it looked like was a whole bunch of blobs just doing this and slapping and everything.
Yeah.
This one it was a lot better visually. Um, and then number two, I would say is that it definitely sets up a lot of stuff regarding the Venom Carnage mythology going forward. Every single freaking storyline. regarding Venom or and Carnage, except for like the space stuff. It definitely freaking hooks it up and freaking sets it up for later. Every single
Does
one.
the upcoming Morbius film figure in here at all?
It does not. Not
Hmm.
yet.
I
No.
kind of thought that you would see Jared Leto kind of poke his head out somewhere.
Yeah, you would have thought, but I think especially with it being a Sony property,
Yeah.
um, but no, they took the time to hook it into more of the Spider-Man No Home No Way Home deal, which is a shame, right? Because I'm now used to Venom being so separated from Spider-Man right now, and I like that element to it right now. But now they'll say they're going to kind of reintegrate Spider-Man into the Venom story, which is not necessary at all for it to survive.
I'm wondering if this is kind of boxing the MCU into a corner with Tom Holland, right? Because Tom Holland's contract is up after No Way Home, and if they're really promoting the crap out of like Venom, or if they're gonna merge universes or whatever, and if they're building up to a Venom versus Spider-Man fight, you think if that happens, I mean, they really kind of have to re-sign Tom Holland to like another contract, right? Or hope that he's willing to do so.
That's the tough thing. Like I don't know. They don't. Do they really need to? Because
I, I don't know. I think at this point they
it's
should, but
yeah. I mean, it's a good idea too, right? He's a good actor. He right now he is the Spider-Man for a whole generation of people, for the people that got reintroduced to comic books. So he is that deal. Or they could just go with find another Spider-Man in the meantime, which
well,
I
it's
haven't
not
seen them do.
it's not like they're going to have all the Spider-Men in No Way Home. So, you know, they
Right.
we could come out with a new one at the end of this movie. We don't know. We could have Miles Morales by the end of this movie.
Yeah. Yeah,
So,
exactly, right? That's what I'm really looking forward to them doing is let's go ahead, freaking pull up Miles Morales. Let's get him in here. Let's get Ben Riley in here. Let's do some branch offs. That's what this movie really should be about because right now, especially with the storylines that they've been putting out for Spider-Man so far, oh my goodness, just mind-numbing. I I feel like I'm in school and I'm like, why are we here? What are we talking about right now? How will this be important? And I feel like every once in a while I'm reading a freaking Spider-Man book, I find myself my hand raising up. It's like, hey, is this going to be on the test here? I'll say, oh wait, I'm a grown ass man, and you know, like what the heck's going on, man? But it's rough for the Spider-Man stuff right now. But we look maybe they've got some type of plan that I'm being a little hoobout about. Um, in the meantime, the I think we should address what's going on. Let's get us into some crazy
all right, let's
business
shift. We're going to
rules.
shift gears. Time for
Shift
Lucas to
gears,
educate us on.
yes, sir. Um, here's the deal. While I've been complaining and convincing about, hey, I don't like the storyline or whatever. I do know that Marvel is under some immense pressure right now to not make every single one of their books 5.99. DC, they don't care, right? They've been charging us 5.99, 6.99, 9.99 for a while. Marvel has slowly been doing the same thing, and the reason is because paper and pulp has become a lot more expensive.
Really?
uh, yeah, I've kind of been itching and talking about this to everybody for like since. In fact, this article, which is July 22nd, that was the last time that I like, hey, this is the proof. But I know, but that I've kind of been telling people about this since like this past January. Um, and there's several things that goes along with it. So number one, there's like a record 154 ships off the coast of California, and it's got a whole bunch of those supplies needed to include the paper, just sitting on those ships. In order to get those off, the companies are going to have to pay more money to get that stuff off there, or pay for their own ships to go and get it and then bring it back, which of course is going to bring about the cost of more money. Ingram has been hit by this, and they said, "Hey, we're just going to have to charge people more." Pingham Random House, which has their own printers, now they've got to prioritize in between the magazines, their books, and of course they do comics right now. So it's kind of a pinch for them as well. Not only that, but adding to the cost is the cost of enemy antimony, which is a rare metal, right? Um, the it, it's the transportation of that between country to country has been really expensive, um, and antimony is important to the paper process because it's the antimonous oxide is part of the precursor process for making some of the paper to make it go quicker and to make it a little bit softer right now.
Hmm.
Adding to that is, those big cargo boxes that everybody puts their stuff in when it's shipped. Yeah,
Yep.
those prices went up as well. So there's all types of reasons why the shipping delays are happening, and it's becoming more expensive. And a lot of these printing companies have all the reason in the world to raise the prices. So you just got to keep an eye on it. In the meantime, I just mentioned that Penguin Random House, right? They're doing their own thing, but got to remember, they also just now, or just last week, started their first full week of actually shipping out Marvel stuff, right? Well, let's
Hmm.
see how that went. Have you seen
Ooh.
these?
Uh-oh.
So the outside of these boxes have not held up well in the shipping process. And then in the second half, or the interior, you can see that the books are not holding up that well either, which is amazing to me because if you look at the size, I mean, the size of the book compared to the size of the box, it should be a perfect size. So there shouldn't be that much room for it to do this or that and the other
Yeah.
thing, right? So I don't know what happened there, and that's um, an antithesis of a the diamond boxes, which are kind of flat and everything, and they move around all the time, because, especially when the people that are packing it forget to put in splinters and dividers, right?
Hmm.
So that was an issue all the time. But for it to happen in this type of box, I'm kind of scared. I'm like, oh man. Now here's the deal. I got some boxes from Ping Random House, and every single box that I got was perfect. Was perfect. Now they didn't use these boxes; they used the regular comic book mailers. Thank you to Tom and Mary Jane who packed my box. I know their names because they freaking sent me these this thing in there with the business cards, and it's even got like the photos of the people that freaking that mail their stuff. So
Just in case you want to go track them down.
yeah. So God bless them. Thank you guys, and I hope that you guys keep packing my stuff in the near future because it was perfect. But
So
look,
do you think this is a just a localized error, or do you think the that maybe like half of these are going out haphazardly, you know?
yeah, I don't know. I think what we got also got to remember is that sometimes it's just a UPS issue where they got
Yeah.
your stuff and they just, oh, okay, time to make it donuts, and they just throw your crap out the back of the freaking truck, and
Yeah.
and they don't really know what's inside, and nor do they care.
Right. Right.
But this condition, man, that is such a rough thing. In the meantime, apparently some of the boxes have gotten lost and have not showed up.
Ooh.
So once again, that's a UPS issue. So man, there's all types of things. All I know is that the way Penguin Random House did me this week was okay. I'm fine with them doing that way. I hope they continue doing that.
Well, so in this, I'm sure that when Diamond was doing the distributions, that were some boxes that showed up like this too. So, you know,
Yes, absolutely. Every
so
single
I
week.
I think
Every
maybe
single week.
Penguin Random House might be getting called out for the wrong reasons. Yeah.
It's a tough business for them, man. Especially starting out with them, starting out. But hey,
Yeah.
it's the price you pay. Let's see. Let's go. So we talked about. All right. So are you ready to talk about books, or did you want to take a break first?
Yeah. Let's take a break and then we'll be right back and we'll talk comics, guys.
All right.
right. Make sure to watch Crisis in the Toyverse. That toy show is just amazing. So, all right, let's talk comics, man. It's been a while.
It's been too doggone long, man. Look, Dark Ages, man. This is one of those weird freaking storylines that they decided to do, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, why not, right? Superheroes, well, some of the superheroes have lost their powers, and now they've still got to try to protect the world with or without it. And this is one of those things like, how do you deal with adversity? How do you deal it with when everything you've worked for and you hold dear is not just there anymore? So that's really to the bottom of this Dark Ages story. Um, I'm gonna let you go into it, but man, it really is interesting, and I've got a lot of people asking questions about what I think of this. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, so I mean, this is the basis of this story is that there was a an entity called I believe the Unmaker that was buried under the earth that came up during a huge fight. The only way to stop him was to release an EMP or an electromagnetic pulse that kills electronics and electricity. And during the fight with Doctor Strange, while the Unmaker was defeated, um, the Doctor Strange was killed, which kept the portal open, which kept the EMP pulse going across the whole planet. That ended up killing all electricity all over the world. So that's the basis for this story, where now the Marvel universe or this Earth has to live without power, and how this has kind of changed the dynamic of just about everything. So when you say people have lost their powers, of course, like Iron Man, who's unable to do anything, right? It's that's his whole gig is based on having technology. So technology is gone, and it's really kind of interesting. The one thing that I don't think they've addressed in the previous issue or this issue is what happened to all the electrical powered mutants or villains like Electro, or like even like Living Lightning or stuff like that, people that could channel that. Did they just lose their powers? Or I wonder if further on down the line they might show like Doctor Doom with like Electro uh, strapped to a machine powering Latveria or something like
Right.
that. So who knows? I'm digging this series because it seems like most of the great ideas are kind of out of continuity right now, and that this is you can kind of read this. You don't need a primer, and then you just kind of have fun with it. Whatever they want to do is cool. It's a what if story. So let them do what they do, and they bring out some interesting characters that you don't see interacting in the regular Marvel universe. They have the mutants here working side by side with the regular heroes, which we don't really see anymore. Um, they brought back May Parker, so you have
Yeah.
Mary Jane and Peter are married, and they have May. Um, it's good. I like it. I don't know. So, what did you think about this? Because when I was reading this, I was like, I kind of think this might be up Lucas's alley.
Yeah, absolutely. Once again, science, science, science. And like, hey, when all else fails and we can't put together really good stories, let's science the heck out of it. And I'm all here for it, man. Because just like you said, man, like just all those questions, like, okay, if all these powers are gone, especially those electric powers, how is it going to get dealt with? Like, how are those? And they did answer some of those, like especially with how they introduced like what actually happened to Magneto, right? It's like, yeah, maybe originally his powers were just done, right? But if you build him a Faraday cage
Hmm.
and then allow him to just rip it, then not only do you have a Faraday cage, but he powers that Faraday cage and he powers everything inside of it, and then you can do this, that, and the other thing. So I thought that was genius, absolutely freaking smart way to do it. The introduction of some of these characters, right? Or and look, they even brought back Moon Girl. I freaking love that, right?
I
Um,
like Moon Girl.
yeah, I love Moon Girl and the fact that they actually have her doing stuff. You got Reed doing her things, doing her thing, man. All types of great stuff. Of this is the way if you're going to freaking pull out these characters out of your butt, give them one of these away stories where the capabilities comes to the surface, and I can get an actual appraisal of how important this character would be to the to the Marvel universe. I freaking
Mm.
love this freaking story. Of course, the people are asking about, well, okay, well, if all Beaten Powers are gone, what about Gabby and X-23 and their ability to do their thing? And through issue 1 through 2, they've kind of answered that, but it's going to be interesting to see how much more of that they're going to want to talk to. Um, the only thing I'm missing is on the cover there. Is that Miles Morales up there? I must have missed it. Um, I must have missed
Um, I
whether he was in
believe,
it.
yeah, I believe that's Miles Morales.
Yeah, I must have missed him inside the guts because I didn't see him inside the guts or anything like that. So maybe I missed it. But hey, once again, this was one of those few ones where they decided to look. They even found a way to get me interested in Spider-Man. All of a sudden, say, "Oh wait, yeah, May Parker. I remember her. Yeah,
Well,
it's
I mean, they always show those when they show those kid characters, it's always like they're supposed to be the hope for the future, right?
yeah."
So so we'll see what happens with May's character, uh, you know, throughout this arc. But yeah, shout out to Tom Taylor. Great idea, great writing, great characters that he's pulling out. I mean, we haven't seen Apocalypse since X of Swords. Um, so, I mean, of course, there's an alternate version of Apocalypse, but I like seeing him working with other characters. And you see at the end of this book where it's like all the failed scientists like Reed Richards and everything trying to science things out without electricity, and that's kind of it's kind of an interesting concept to try to make innovations or make things happen with Tony Stark, who has become an alchemist for, because that's what he does. He just is a futurist and just does what the next thing is. So you have Tony and Mystique and Reed Richards and the Purple Man. Pulled the Purple Man out of their butts too. So it's interesting because you see all these characters that are not normally interactive. So
right.
it's interesting.
Yeah. There was a couple characters in there that I'm not sure who they are, so I guess I'm gonna have to do some research later on who they were. They were mine talking with Xavier. One was in Australia, and the other one was in Nepal. I got to figure out who they were and what their thing is going forward.
I
Um,
can I might be able to figure out. Let me just look at the book real quick.
yeah, yeah, definitely the whole vampire things. This would have been awesome, right? Because look, we just had and once again, this might have been 2 years ago when we had that storyline with vampires and everything.
Yeah.
This would have been great to introduce right after that as a complication because okay, we had the whole vampire thing. Blade did his thing and killed them all off, and then we really haven't heard about that whole vampire thing since, other than Blade, who was supposed to be the sheriff of Dracula Land, and then I haven't
uh,
heard much about that. So,
yeah, that was so bad.
man, this is. See, that's where it's frustrating. It's like I know they've got great ideas because this is a great idea. It's just the chronological order of what they're putting this stuff together makes no freaking sense.
Yeah, what would have made sense is if this whole story could have taken place in Vampire Land or whatever, that country that Blade's the sheriff of. If they had no electricity or whatever, and the vampires were running everything,
Mm,
that would make an
that would have been
interesting
great.
story. But this is worldwide, so. But anyway, Dark Ages, I would recommend it. You know,
Yeah,
everybody
definitely.
go read it. It's fun. You don't need anything. You don't need to really know anything about the Marvel universe to pick up the story and understand it and have fun with it.
Yep. All right. Moving on. Defenders
Uh,
Volume 6,
you
number
must be
3.
loving this book because this is like a huge Al Ewing universe builder. Uh, everything that happens in this book, all the all the big reveals, I'm like, wait, this is from the Hulk.
Yes, yes. Let's run it back. So, Doc Strange becomes aware of this big threat that's been jumping back and forth across universes. So he signs this team of like Harpy and the Mass Rider, and I forget the name of the other two. Um,
Yeah, it was
is it a Silver
Cloud
Surfer? Yeah,
and
the Cloud, Silver Surfer, I think, or was it Silver Surfer? I
Silver
forget.
Surfer. I think got left in the last universe because I don't think he's in this issue. But and then Taia, who is Galactus's mom, who they introduced in the last issue, is now part of the team.
Right. Yeah, that's crazy enough as it is, man. So they track this threat to this one particular dimension and they square up. And they kind of defeat it kind of easily, right? And they look like Harpy like slashes the hell, like kills this freaking entity. Um and that entity just seems kind of fine with it, right? And there's like blood everywhere.
Mm.
The and it turns out like I'm not sure how it works, whether it just happens to do with where the blood is placed or whether it has something to do with blood or with Harpy being covered in blood or what have you. But it turns out that blood from that entity opens up the portal. That portal is the green door that we've been talking about for the last 2 years that Al Ewing kind of invented. And what happens when they go through that green door? They find this other new Hulk. Actually, I don't know if it's new, but it's new to me. This
It's
Hulk with
definitely new.
yeah, this Hulk with four different types of freaking faces. One is sad, happy, confused, and the other thing.
And they speak in colors. They don't speak in words, which is
Right. This
it's
weird,
just strange.
just absolutely strange. So what we do know is that this is the one below all world that the Hulk goes to whenever he dies. Um, and this is happening there now. They're at this dimension. And the fact that the blood opens up the portal, that is nothing new because in the first, let's see, in this one, the Mortal Hulk Time of Monsters, it was actually established that that's what happens. Once again, this is an Al Ewing book where he established,
Right.
hey, sometimes in order to open up the portal, you have to give a blood sacrifice at a certain place, and that opens up the green door. The problem is once you go into the green door, what comes out of it? So I don't know whether that changes Doc Strange and the rest of the group. But I guess we'll see, right? Because once again, Doc Strange is supposed to be dead. Harpy, she could freaking die. She's already freaking came powered. And this and that and the other thing. Interesting stuff going on. I once again, yes, like you said, I love Al Ewing stuff. I like what he's taking. I like the fact that he's been tying everything he's done for the last 2 years into this issue,
Mm.
and now he's getting ready to do Venom, right?
Yep.
So he's making stuff makes sense. Hopefully, he can tie up that null stuff that Donny Cates started off and apparently didn't know how to finish. Um,
Yep.
so
I mean,
what
Al
what do you
Ewing,
think?
I think we've talked about Al Ewing before, and I think Al Ewing has been the most consistent writer Marvel has had for the last 5, 6, 7 years now. And I think everything that he does, you kind of have to go back and reread because I think he does his research, he knows his Marvel history, and he knows how to build on it without changing or retconning many things. So what he's doing right now is we all know that this Marvel 616 universe had a big bang and Galactus was the only surviving person from the previous universe. So that has been long established. So now he's gone back and he's explored this previous universe, which is, I mean, nobody's done before. I think that's was a great idea, but now he's going back and now we find out that this is the Earth 616 has been the eighth reality, right? And that there's
Mhm.
been 7 realities before that. And this is what
Yes.
they're doing here in Defenders is they're backtracking. So they've gone to the 7th one, and then now this issue occurs in the 6th reality. Um, And then what I can see is they're probably going back and back and back, and we're probably maybe we get to the first reality. But he's pulling all these old characters like Moradun, who is in the 616, but now we see him here in the sixth reality. That
Yes.
it's interesting to me because you do need to pay attention a little bit, right? And I'm really glad. Like, I wouldn't have enjoyed this issue as much if you hadn't primed us all through this whole Immortal Hulk run with all of Ewing's Green Door stuff. Um, so it made this easier to understand for me because I had already understood it from before we were talking about it. But yeah, man, Al Ewing has really built something here that I think other writers can take a look and hopefully learn from on what you can do
Absolutely.
in the Marvel universe that hasn't been done before. And to me, I'm interested in finding out way more about the Masked Rider, and even Cloud, who hasn't, she's appeared in the Defenders, 40 years ago, but hasn't really appeared since, and we didn't really know about a lot about her then. But and then of course, you had your gratuitous gender fluidity moment where Cloud says she prefers to be used to be called they instead of she. So, but
That's
that makes
weird.
sense because she is gender fluid. She can be male or female depending
Yeah.
on
It's
where
that
she
time.
shifts.
It's that time and age when they're gonna bring these these characters about,
Yep.
and that's the way it should be, right? Don't bring up a character that we've had already and try to make them something they're not. There are
Right.
certain characters like the Cloud where that makes sense, right?
Hmm.
So go and do that stuff with those characters, and I'm all about it, man.
Yeah.
The other interesting thing is, once again, we've been talking about the Carlos Zola character for a while. Um, they started reintroducing his whole thing in Marvel Comics 1000. Um, and then they put him up again in I'm trying to remember the name of the I forget which one it was. Oh, uh, the Iron Man joint. Remember, it
Mm.
was like Iron Man and not Black Cat. I forget what her name was. But there was a weird series that they were going after Zoda, as he was doing his own thing because he was trying to get a whole bunch of powers, and just like he caught up with whatever he was chasing, and now Morden now has him enslaved,
Mm.
and that's whatever. But Al Ewing decided to introduce a new concept. It's called the first magic, the sign of five, circle vessels, blades, staves, and the secret fire. That binds them in the moon dark and the five elements of that all that is, and the circle of the foundation, the world on foot, and the reason why it's important, it says, but turn a circle on a spear, make a spear, and we may see that world from any single point. So that's going to, once again, knowing Al Ewing, that's going to come up again at some point. We just got to see how, because
Just put it in the notebook.
yeah, just put it in a notebook. I'm definitely gonna save this and put it away for later, because those five colors. Well, let's see, one, two, there's five colors, but right now we've only seen four. Right, we've seen the four that was on that new Hulk. Um, see this one. So the yellow, that's the sun, I guess. The orange, there is no orange, which is what we're missing, which is like a stave. Then there's blades. Blue is the blades. And then the purple, yeah, the purple is the drink, which is why the guy looks happy because he's drunk. So all we're missing now is we're missing one more color to see what that color is supposed to be. I guess that color would be fire. Maybe.
Maybe he fights orange. Who knows?
Hmm. We don't know. We don't know. So, and that I believe that probably goes back into some old tarot stuff that I guess I'm gonna have to freaking research and.
Yeah, because he
Oh
was
my
using
goodness.
tarots in this issue too. So
Yeah,
who
so
knows?
there's a whole series called Tarot, that has to do with the Scarlet Witch stuff, from back in the day. So, man, Al Ewing, can't you just let me read a book in peace, man? Instead of having to do all this research. But
You have
here
to
we are.
Google. You have to Al Ewing and then Google the issue and figure it out.
Yeah. Great art by Javier Rodriguez, though. Good stuff.
Yep,
Lo- Love.
it's just abstract enough, right? It kind of reminds me of a lot of like Mike Allred's work on like X Force and Silver Surfer and stuff like that. So
Right.
I like that. I like that kind of cartoonish artwork. So I
The
think it
only
works
thing,
with this series.
yeah, the only thing that I didn't like, and I will see if I can do this real quick, is the positioning of so you know that little dog thing that they have. I don't know if you remember that thing.
In Defenders,
Yes, it's it's the way they had it positioned at certain times was a little weird, man, and made me think that they lost their doggone minds. I didn't know what they were trying to do with it. So let me see if I can, because the way it's positioned, it kind of made me think. I didn't even realize it was a dog. I thought it was like the dude's penis for a second, or maybe I'm just an old dirty man. Well, yes, I am an old dirty man, but the way, because it's just standing there, and then the nozzle comes out there at that weird angle, and I was like, oh dear, what's going on here? Until I saw that it was barking, but it was also spitting. Man, I didn't know what was going on. And then it
huh?
looks like it's spitting on the dude. I don't know, man. It's all types of weird, man, going on. But once again, great freaking book, great series. I didn't know what they were going to do with it, but I'm loving what they did. I should have never doubted Al Ewing for a second. Shouldn't have.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people eye roll when they see another Defenders series launching because there hasn't been a successful one in 40 years. So, you know, but this one, it's got a purpose, and that I don't think any of the other Defenders books ever really had a story to tell. It was just throwing a bunch of random characters together. This one, there's a story being told here, and I'm interested in finding out what happens. So, kudos to Al Ewing for another successful book. So,
Yes, sir. Okay. So let me rewind on some of the news stuff.
oh,
So once again, not necessarily confirmed by any sources I trust, but here's the scuttlebutt: is that Agatha Harkness may get her spinoff, right? And it's going to be called Agatha Harkness. I don't know about that, but what I do know is that it's been kind of set up that the Darkhold stuff, the Chthon stuff, that's what's been kind of set up to do and happen so far. So I think that's what's going to happen. I don't think Agatha Harkness is going to be alone, but her son's got something to do with it. The Wonga store location, man, they've got all types of crazy stuff that's been set up, and the prices of our first appearance has been up and down, up and down. But once again, I do think this sets it up for Chthon. We know Chthon just made his appearance inside of What If. Go back and check it out. Not the last one, the second to last one. Check that out, man. So his first appearance as the Other. He's got two names. The Other, which is what showed up in the second to last one. That first appearance is in Marvel Shows #1, and I think so. This is where it gets a little dicey. In between the What If episode and the announcement about Agatha Harkness, I'm not sure what spiked this jump because it went from like $50 to $1,000 for this freaking book
are you?
overnight.
Wow. Okay. Wow.
And this is for 98 issues, right? 98 issues went from $50 to $1,000 overnight. So if you once again, if you're out there at the freaking Comic Con and you got search for this book and and square it away. I don't even
Wow.
care. I don't care if it's even a bad copy.
Make sure
Um,
you get a slabbed copy though, because the story stinks in that book.
yeah, it does.
You
It
don't you don't
does.
need to
Yeah,
read it.
yeah. But his first appearance where he's named as Jathan is this one, which is Avengers #186.
That one's
Definitely,
very readable.
yeah, definitely. If you see this one, definitely pick it up. And then the one that I would also suggest people picking up is this one, which is the Marvel Spotlight on Werewolf by Night #4. That's the first appearance of the pages or the book for the Darkhold. And
Yep.
then that's it. Do you want to talk about anything else? Because I do have some new releases, some suggested new releases that are going to be on fire.
Yeah, let's go into those. What's
Okay.
what's new coming out? Because I've been out of circulation for a couple of weeks, so I don't even really know what's coming out next week.
Yes, sir. So coming out October 13th for Marvel. This one is a cover pick. X-Men #4. I love the headless horseman, and of course the
Oh,
head that he has looks like it's Cyclops.
is that like a Halloween variant or something like that?
Uh, Not necessarily. It's not called a Halloween variant, but is I mean, look, it's coming out right around as Halloween was happening. But I just love it. The whole Halloween homage to it.
Hmm.
So this one now it's no, but of course it's an X-Men book, so it's not sold out by any means. But I just love the look and feel of it. Miss Marvel Tales #1. That's one of those side books, right? It's not in any type of continuity right now. There is a 1 to 50, right? And it's already like a 4.99, 5.99. So it's an expensive book. They want 150 for it. So if you see this book, I'm talking about not just this book, but the version that's the one without the letterings on this one, grab it, right? Because this is a beautiful cover, and not a lot of retailers are going to grab this one.
Hmm.
Mortal Hulk #50. This is the last issue. The one that I'm suggesting people pick up is the Garcine one. That's the one to the left. That's the one that has like 300 of the different Hulks that have ever been inside that one. And I have a feeling that's one's going to sell out because there was a Conan issue that was just like this one that had all the different Conans that were in there, and that one sold out really quick.
Hmm.
And then that Moral Hulk, Alex Ross, once again, absolutely freaking gorgeous, gorgeous work by Alex Ross once again. But that's not the speculators are not going to go after that one. But it's just another gorgeous cover. Uh, Look, Star Wars fans have been blowing me up over over this one. They think this one is a gorgeous. This has been sold out in several outlets, right? um, Midtown, T-Fall. In fact, we were talking about it on Drunken Chat last night, and then one guy was like, "Oh man, I freaking found it." Everybody was like, "Where?" And he's like, "Over here." And everybody went to that site and bought everything. So you're not going to
Really?
find, yeah, you're not going to just find this just lying about, man. So if you see this, definitely you can buy yourself a couple copies and then resell it.
Hmm.
Moon Knight #1. There's going to be a third print, Capuccio. That one was the first appearance of that other new Moon Knight deal. Um, for some reason, people have been all over these third prints. I'm not about it, but I just want everybody to know that that's out there. This one's a beautiful one. Miles Morales Spider-Man Sweeby, variant 1 to 25. A lot of people do not like that new design, that costume design.
I was just gonna ask you if you like his new costume.
I don't like the he's got the women's of wrestling tights that he's been wearing. I'm not about that. You know, just change the tights, put him in some normal pants. You know,
It's the looks like he's just coming out of school, with the sneakers and the hoodie and like it looks like he's got the COVID mask that could come up. I just don't it doesn't do anything for me.
yeah, we'll see how. I mean, once again, Miles Morales is supposed to be for the younger crowd, so we got to see how they like it. But I don't think they're
Yeah.
spending 3.99 for 99 on this book. So we'll see. Let's see. Come on now. Uh-oh. Excuse me. Okay. Avengers #49. Joe Jusko. That She-Hulk Marvel Masterpieces variant.
Yeah,
Another
those
freaking
are
great cover
beautiful
by Joe
covers,
Jusko.
man. Joe Jusko and those old trading cards, man, they I love that they're putting them on covers. They look good.
Yeah. And then this one is by no means sold out. The Darkhold Iron Man Tormy design variant. It's kind of got a mix up of the Iron Man suit and just like the Darkhold. So I can't wait to read that particular issue and see what's going on with that one.
That looks very steampunk. I like it.
It is. And then let's go with the FOC. This is stuff that you need to order from your LCS to ensure that you will have some copies. Black Panther, #1. A lot of people are loving that Scotty Young, but the most popular one right now is that NetEase Marvel Games one. That's the one to the right.
Hmm. Who's the creative team on Black Panther coming up?
I'm
Do you
not
know?
sure, but I'm hoping that it's not whoever's been writing it because it sucks.
Oh no, because Coates left, so that's
Right.
the new one is going to be a different creative team, but I haven't heard who.
Yeah. People have been loving that one in the middle. That's by Bianchi. And then the one to the right, the one covered with the crown covered in fire, that's by Sam Spratt, which is a 1 of 25.
I like that cover.
Right?
I like I like the new logo too.
Yes. It kind of looks like a weird mask type deal. It looks like it's
Hmm.
I don't know what it is about it, but it's weird. It looks like maybe I don't know how to describe it, but I'm gonna take a look at it a little bit later. So what people also need to know is that there is a Saquon Barkley who is the running back for the New York Giants. He's got his own little variant, which is not going to be sold through Diamond or Marvel or anything like that. In fact, you have to go to the U-Haul site, which takes you to this particular link, the hustle.agency. There's only going to be 2,500 of these sold, and you can get a CGC graded for $80, and you can get it autographed for $270. I'll tell you, as a
Hmm.
speculator, I will not get this book. I mean, if it was Patrick Mahomes, maybe, but no, this is not worth $270 for a running back that's on a losing team. I'm sorry. Darkhold Wasp #1.
Ooh,
The one to the far right, I believe that is actually I'm not sure what that one is. I forget which one. But I do know that the everybody loved every single one of these covers. Every
I
single one.
love that middle one.
The Torment design variant. Yep. And I actually had to cut off some of it to actually make it fit. So once it comes out, take a look at it. There's some really, really interesting stuff in there.
Yeah, looks good.
What I don't like is this one, the Amazing Spider-Man #78. That one in the middle right there, that's a Momoko variant.
Nope,
Um,
pass.
yeah, I don't know what's going on with the lips and the cheekbones and everything, but okay. Dark Ages, #3. It's got some pretty interesting covers. We just got to figure out what's going on with that. Uh, the 1 to 25, that's actually we don't have the 1 to 25 yet. We don't have the segment 1 to 50 yet, but I do like the one in the middle, that Iron Man steampunk variant.
Hmm. Yeah, looks nice.
Genesis Marvel Tales #1 for some reason. Uh, there's a Pacheco version 150.
I'm so happy they're bringing Janice Fell back. He was one of my favorite Captain Marvels back in the day, back in the '90s.
Kang the Conqueror #4. The one in the middle is by Mike Delmondo, and the one to the right is by Kafu. I kind of like that one. Because if you look into the background, you can see that the portals has their hands
Yeah,
getting ready to
they're both
stab each
trying to
other.
stab each other in the back. That is nice. I like that.
Moon Knight #5. The one in the middle, that's done by Steve McNiven. And then the one to the right is by Arthur Adams. That's the 1 to 25. But what I do want people to keep an eye out for, because I don't have the art for it, is Maria Wolfe. She's an up and comer in the speculation world. A lot of really detailed stuff. Um, I can't say that it's going to be absolutely amazing because I know her hand must be freaking hurting right now because as much work as she's been getting lately, ever since Al and I actually met her during one of the repops. Um,
Ah,
but her stuff has been amazing so far. and I'm very encouraged that we encouraged her to get into the cover game, and she's been tearing it up ever since.
Nice.
Shang-Chi, number 6. I like the one in the middle. That's the duality variant. But the one that they decided to make an incentive was the 150 that Michael Cho. That's the one to the right.
I do enjoy the Michael Cho variant. Looks good.
And then the very last one that I had to show everybody is Sword number 10. Um, the one that's in the middle by Stefano Caselli. But the one to the right, that's by En-Hyuk Lee. These are both open orders, absolutely freaking beautiful covers. People are telling me that there's some type of this is like an Akira homage, and people were loving it. What I do suspect is maybe retailers will use the image to the right and some retailer incentive. That's what I would expect. Once again, another freaking great job by En-Hyuk Lee.
Yeah, they all look good.
Yep. And that's all I got.
Yeah, and no, we're right up against it. So we're gonna say goodbye for now, and we will see you in a couple of weeks. And thanks for joining us on No Prize Podcast.
All right. Stay safe.